Someone posed the question yesterday on one of the social media channels or places that I like to frequent. And the question was, have you ever turned your back on God? Honestly speaking, I think all of us, if not most of us, have at one time or another turned our backs on God. But the powerful thing that we need to remember as we're asked that question, or if we ourselves are asking ourselves that question, is to remember God has never turned his back on us. God always has our back. God always is with us. I turned my back on God early on in my educational career as a wannabe minister. I finished college in 3 calendar years. I went 2 years to Lon Morris College in Jacksonville, Texas, got my Associate of Arts degree there. Got a wonderful scholarship that Lon Morris had nominated me for, Ford Foundation Scholarship, to go to Southwestern University in Georgetown, Texas. And just hit the books hard, and finished in 3 calendar years. In fact, the second week of August, 1974, I was submitting the last of what was required for my undergraduate degree, which was a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology. And the third week, I found myself in Dallas, Texas. I'd been wanting to go there. The strong argument was you'll go and be with all your colleagues there, and you'll build friendships that will last forever. And that was true. Although, I was kind of tired. I was not ready for all the stress that seminary brings at you. Now, if you think seminary is not a spiritual place, it is, both the good kind and the bad kind. Because I really believe that when you go to seminary, there's someone there who doesn't want you there, and that's our enemy, Satan. And he worked overtime on me, and it got to the point after 11 weeks, I dropped out. I said, I've had enough. I'm going back. What I feared most was kind of embarrassing my parents, because the sister that follows me had gone to Texas Woman's University in Denton. She was down the road from me. She went 8 weeks and dropped out, went back to Houston, and here I was 3 weeks later, same thing, going back to Houston, tail between my legs, wondering, this is not for me. God must have been really wrong in choosing me to be a minister. And so I went back to Houston to try to see what I could do. I thought about maybe getting a substitute teaching position, and then maybe working on becoming a teacher. And I had a very dear friend who I met at Lon Morris. He and his wife lived in Houston, and he was working for Southwestern Bell as a inside salesperson. He loved the job. He'd get calls from people needing to upgrade service or establish service, and he would take the order and put that into effect, and loved it. He said, they're probably hiring. So I went to the office there in downtown, to the Southwestern Bell office, and applied for an inside job position. You have to take an aptitude test to to be considered for a job by Ma Bell, and I did very well. In fact, the recruiter, or the director of hiring, called me into her office, said, you did exceptionally well on this exam, and I see you want to be an inside salesperson. She said, would you be interested in maybe an outside sales person? She'd say, you have to wear a suit, you'll drive one of the company cars, and you call on our big customers and try to sell them multi-line systems. Now keep in mind, Southwestern Bell was part of AT&T, the monopoly, the only phone company in town, and boy, did we act like it. And she said, if you want to be considered for that job, you'll have to come back on Friday and take an 8-hour-long test on it. This is the guy that dropped out of seminary because he was burned out from so much tests and papers and all that, among other things. I said, sure, I'll consider it. So I put on my suit, went to the building that was there. I think it was 1114 Texas Avenue there in Houston. Went upstairs and took this excruciatingly long test. I had fun. I got to see a little bit of what would be required of me if I were hired as an outside salesperson for Southwestern Bell, and turned in all my tests, went home, said, maybe inside sales or whatever, it's fine. Got a call on Monday. Congratulations, you passed the test. We want you to be an outside salesperson. And you're going to have to go to a 16-week marketing course, the same building where you took the exam. So I started marketing course taught by some really fine people. And for 16 weeks, I was just brainwashed on the merits and positives of AT&T, Southwestern Bell. And I kind of felt smug because here I was hiding in the belly of the whale. God hadn't won. I was hiding from God. I had turned my back on God. And I'll just sit back and enjoy a nice life away from the church. My starting salary was a bit higher than the highest paid minister in the Rio Grande Conference at that time. And I said, oh man, I don't think this is fair, but I'll take it. My parents, bless their hearts, knew that now I was going to be doing this kind of work, and my mom took me to Sears and bought me these suits that were on sale. You'd get 2 jackets and matching suit pants, so you could have 2 suits. And it also came with an extra pair of pants that had, checkers on them or whatever it was. And so you could make quite a number of outfits from that, and took the class, trained for 16 weeks, and boy, I was ready to go. Upon graduation from the marketing school, I was assigned to an office at the airport location of Southwestern Bell, marketing office. And there were 60,000 employees in the Houston area from AT&T. 60,000. Remember, I was born in Kingsville, raised in Kingsville till I was 13, then moved to Houston. Kingsville didn't have 60,000 people, nor have they ever. That's a big number. And out of 60,000 employees, I was assigned to an office, to a desk that was directly across. And this was one of these open office desks, no cubicles, no dividers, nothing. Everybody, kind of like what you see on movies about newspaper offices back in the day. And directly across from another young man that, guess what, had dropped out of seminary too. When I met him and when he told me and when I told him, I just kind of shook my head and looked up and said, Lord, kind of what Jonas said, where can a person go to hide from you? Long story short, Frank and I met often. We had lunch when we could and did our job. I was blessed with promotion and money. Had my own apartment, bought my first new car, and with my first paycheck, I was able to buy the first color TV for my family. And this was all material stuff, and I wasn't happy. I had turned my back on God, and I was not happy. I was not in any way content with the decision that had led me to hide in this whale's belly. One day, out of the blue, my nearing of almost a year with Ma Bell, I got a letter from New York from the Board of Global Ministries, their Crusade Scholarship Office. I had gone to SMU Perkins School of Theology with a Crusade Scholarship, and the letter simply said, you still have the Crusade Scholarship if you should decide to return to seminary. I just tossed the letter aside and said, I'm not ready. The very next day, I got a letter from a seminary in Colorado, Denver, Colorado, ILF School of Theology, United Methodist School. And the letter said, "We understand you have crusade scholarship still in effect. If you would like to come back and resume your seminary education, just call this number. You will not need to apply, just call, and you'll be accepted." Picked up the phone, called the number. They said, "Come on back." Talked to my dad, my mom. My dad's concern was, you have a new car and you have a monthly payment on that car of $103. How are you going to raise that money? And I said, "I don't know, but I will. God will provide." And God provided. So friends, no matter what God has called you to, and you've tried to hide or turn your back on God, or you're hiding from God and you're looking for a big whale to hide in its belly, don't. Pray about it. Think about it. Think hard about it. And say yes to God. And you'll be blessed. I love you and I thank God for you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. I'm Pastor Dario Valverde.